Okay, so in this one, we're going to cover how you can email every single person that clicks on your website. So you might want to do this if you're a B2B company that does some form of outbound marketing. You send cold emails, you're running ads, etc. Any GTM strategies, this would be for you. So why the hell would we even want to do this? So the average reply rate for outbound in 2025 is around 0.5 to 2%. So very, very low numbers. Email deliverability is in the bin at the moment. So this is the average reply rate for sending to a cold audience. A cold audience meaning people that don't already know who you are. Now, if we're sending to people that visit our website, they're showing intent, they're clicking on your website, they might have seen an ad, they might have seen some of your content online, and they've chosen to visit your website. Now, this is a buying signal. So this is someone that is more interested than someone that doesn't know about you, your service, or what you offer. So you can see here that the reply rates for these are much, much higher. So like I said, 0.5 to 2% reply rates on cold audiences. Sending to warm people that have visited your website, we're getting 6.5, 5.7% reply rates here. And you can see how low the numbers are as well that we're sending to. So this isn't big volume either. So you can send to a small amount of people and get these kind of results. So why is it a problem to not be doing this? If you're already getting traffic to your website, you're probably doing a number of things. You're probably creating content, you're running ads, or you're just creating demand online in some form. So newsletter, whatever that is, SEO, content, etc. You're driving traffic to your website, which is the top of funnel. So this is a problem because if you're generating this demand, 97% of that demand is not going to convert. They're going to click on your website and bounce. They might read some of your stuff. They might consume some of your content, get educated on what you do, but they might not necessarily convert. So I imagine it like a bucket. Imagine you're pouring water into the top of the bucket. You're doing everything you can to get water into this bucket, but there are holes in the bucket and they're leaking out. You're basically wasting that water. So you're pouring in loads of stuff at the top, putting all this effort in and getting nothing out of it because it's all pouring out the sides. We need to fix these holes before we add more top of funnel activity. So before we do any more cold emails, before we do any more content, SEO, ads, we need to fix and patch these holes by tracking people that visit your website for a start. So we're making the most of the people that visit your website. Some of the things you might run into if you leave this unfixed is increased customer acquisition costs, lower ROAS, wasted opportunities, and a lack of visibility into people that are visiting your website. So for example, if you can see the people that are visiting your website, you might see a trend that CROs are visiting your website when actually you want CMOs. So you can adjust your marketing to be tailored more towards CMOs rather than CROs, or you can, reverse engineer and see where you're going wrong with your marketing. It's really easy to set up. You only need two tools for this. So we need rb2b.com and vector.co. Now, both of these tools simply install onto your website and track people in the USA that are visiting your website. The reason we can only do USA is because of GDPR laws in Europe and the rest of the world. In the USA, they're a lot less strict. So you're able to track account level people that are visiting your website. So you can see, Dave Smith visits your website. You can find his email, his LinkedIn, and you can see exactly what page he's visited on your website. So to set this up, we're going to sign into RB2B and Vector, and then you're going to add a little bit of code into the top of your website header, similar to how a pixel is on Facebook or Meta. You're going to check the connection's working, and then leads should start to come through. Now, you might be thinking, not everybody on my website is going to be qualified. Not everyone that visits my website is qualified. What's the point in reaching out to these people? So you're 100% right. What we want to do here is qualify everybody visiting your website first to see if they're in your ICP. If they're in your ICP, great, we can reach out to them. If not, we can just move them to the side. So to set this up, we're going to use a tool called Clay, which is essentially Google Sheets on steroids. You basically can do a whole bunch of enrichments to find data on the leads that you have in your Clay table and any other information that you need. Inside of Clay, we're going to use an enrichment called a Claygent. Now, what a Claygent does, you give them a task and they will carry out the task for each and every lead in your lead list. So for example, you might say, visit the domain and check if the company is a B2B company. So for every single lead, say it's 5,000 leads in your database, it's going to go to each and every one, use AI and check if the company is a B2B company or if it's not. And then it will say, yes, it's a B2B company, or no, it's not. Then you can filter out the ones that aren't B2B. And then you know that those companies there are B2B. And now you can see where I'm going with this. You can do this for every single filter in your ICP. So it might be industry, job title, revenue, something on your website that's nuanced, like a pricing page. You only want companies with a certain pricing page. You can go ahead and run this Claygent filter and find people that have those pricing pages. So there's kind of endless things that you can do with these filters. But once you're happy with your qualification, we can go ahead and move on to the next stage, which would be how to convert these leads. Now, there's three main ways that we can convert these leads. So starting off, I've got here that we can call them. This is going to be the most efficient way. So if someone visits your website, this automation happens in real time. So within minutes of that person visiting your website, you'll have an email and a phone number. If you've added the right enrichments in Clay, I would call them straight away. If you have the resources for this, you might have SDRs. I would call them straight away. And I wouldn't reference that they visited your website because that can come across a little bit creepy. That's one way you can do it. Second way here is I've got emailing them. So you can set up automated outbound sequences, or the way you do cold email normally, but have these leads routed into some sequences when they hit your website. So that's all automated and you can set it up and kind of forget about it and let it run in the background. We've been doing that, and the results that I was showing you further up here, these results here were from that. So we were doing automated sequences to people visiting our website. And you can see the reply rates we got that when we're just pitching some value. So we were giving away a deliverability audit. The third thing you can be doing is connecting with them on LinkedIn. Obviously, this is a bit more of a manual process, but people, if they're on LinkedIn, are quite active. So you go ahead and connect with them. They might recognize your company, have a little look at you, and then accept you. That's another thing you can be doing. If possible, do them all. You've just got more chances of landing where someone likes to be, because a lot of the time, some people don't like using email. Some people don't like using LinkedIn. Maybe people prefer being called. So people have preferences about how they like to be contacted, so do them all. Other cool things that you can do with this, if you're already running, ads, for example, you can just run retargeting ads to this audience. People that are visiting your website, you kind of want to nurture those people if they haven't already converted. So running retargeting ads is a great way to re-nurture people at the middle of funnel. You can also push these leads to Slack or your CRM. Inside of Clay, there's all sorts of features where you can push a webhook, push the leads out of Clay into basically anywhere. So you can have it going to HubSpot, Salesforce, Slack, wherever you want those leads to go, that can happen. So if you've got team members that need to action on those leads, you can send a little notification to those people or an email. It's kind of up to you where you want that data to go. So this is the full flow in a kind of visual format, so people can see, if you're a visual learner, this is what it looks like. So we start off with Vector and our B2B. We're identifying these website visitors. We're pushing them into Clay. Here, we're going to do our enrichment. We're going to find, what does the company do? Is it a right ICP fit for us? And then we're going to find emails, phone numbers, and any other contact information that we might need. From there, we're going to push it to various different action items, wherever we want these to go. It could be to call them via a sales rep, could be to an automated outbound sequence or a manual ABM play. And then we can even push them to LinkedIn. You could do some automated LinkedIn outreach there as well. It's kind of up to you where you action them, but I'd hit them on as many platforms as possible and do it in a timely fashion. So you don't want to wait 3 days after someone's visited your website. You want to kind of hit them within a day, just so that you're fresh in their mind, and they kind of know what your solution is. So this is just one thing that you can be doing to kind of plug that bucket that we were saying, stop that water coming out of the bucket. I'm going to do plenty more videos covering different GTM plays that you can do to basically streamline your funnel and make sure every single lead that comes into your funnel and that you work so hard to get into the funnel, I'm going to show you some plays that you can do to kind of stop the leads leaking out the side. So look for those on the YouTube coming up soon. And if you enjoyed this and you found it helpful, as always, just give it a like, give it a subscribe, and yeah, thank you.